The observation deck of the Calvaxis battlecruiser hummed with the usual background noise of a galactic warship. The gentle thrum of engines, the beeping of navigation systems, and the quiet chatter of multi-species crew members going about their duties. But today, something was different. Today, the air carried an edge of tension that made the fur on Commander Zekthor's neck stand on end. Rhea stood at the viewport, her reflection ghostly against the star field beyond. To the untrained eye, she looked unremarkable, a human female of average height, her brown hair tied back in a practical ponytail, her frame lean beneath the standard-issue jumpsuit. The cavalry crew had learned months ago that appearances among humans were devastatingly deceptive. Rhea, Zekthor approached cautiously, his three eyes blinking in sequence. The predator cubs you've been caring for. Medical Officer Trin reports they're growing rapidly. Rhea's lips curved into a small smile. The Xyrillian kits are doing great. They've imprinted on me as their protector. She turned to face him, and Zekthor saw that familiar spark in her eyes, the one that appeared whenever she spoke of vulnerable creatures. It was a paradox the crew still struggled to understand. Humans were simultaneously the most ruthlessly efficient warriors in known space and the most irrationally protective of helpless beings. The Xyrillian kits had been orphaned 3 weeks ago when their transport was destroyed by raiders. Rhea had insisted on taking them in, despite protocols, despite warnings, despite the fact that adult Xyrillians were classified as Class 4 predators, apex hunters on their homeworld, with retractable claws that could shred combat armor and jaws powerful enough to crush bone. They're in the auxiliary bay? Zekthor asked. Yes. I'm heading there now for feeding time. What neither of them knew was that Drav had already arrived. Drav was a Korthian alpha, 7 feet of scaled muscle and predatory instinct. His species had ruled their sector for millennia, uncontested at the top of their food chain. When the Galactic Coalition had formed, the Korthians had joined with the understanding that they would defer to no one. Certainly not to humans, those strange, soft-skinned newcomers who seemed to have wandered into the stars by accident. He had heard the mewling from the corridor. Predator cubs. The sound triggered something ancient in his brain, something that transcended civilization and protocol. On his homeworld, rival predators were eliminated while young. It was the way of nature, the way of survival. Drav pressed the access panel. The auxiliary bay doors hissed open. The 3 Xyrillian kits, each no larger than a Terran house cat, were tumbling over each other in play. They froze at his entrance, their oversized eyes widening with instinctive fear. Drav's pupils dilated. His clawed hand reached forward. Away from them. The voice came from behind him, quiet as falling snow and twice as cold. Drav turned. The human female stood in the doorway, her posture relaxed, her hands empty. He outweighed her by at least 100 kilograms. His scales could deflect blade strikes. His strength could bend steel. These are predator spawn, Drav rumbled. They will grow to become threats. I am doing the ship a service. Last warning, Rhea said, and something in her tone made Drav's inner ear twitch. Step away from the kits. Instead, Drav lunged toward the nearest kit. His species was fast, faster than most biologicals in the Coalition. His claw swept down toward the mewling creature. He never reached it. Rhea moved like gravity had forgotten her existence. One moment she was across the bay, the next she was beside him. Her hand caught his descending arm mid-strike, fingers clamping around his wrist with impossible pressure. Drav's eyes widened in shock. No being this small should possess such strength. You made your choice, Rhea said. She pivoted, using his own considerable mass against him, redirecting his momentum with textbook Terran martial precision. As Drav stumbled forward, unable to compensate, Rhea's leg swept up in a motion too fast to track. Her heel connected with the side of his knee with a sound like a gunshot. The crack echoed through the bay. Drav's leg, thick as a support beam, armored in evolutionary scales capable of supporting his massive frame and delivering bone-crushing kicks, simply folded. The joint shattered, fragments of chitin and bone grinding against each other as the limb bent in a direction nature never intended. The alpha fell, howling in agony. Rhea stood over him, breathing calmly, not even winded. Behind her, the 3 kits huddled together, safe. Around them, alarms began to wail. Security teams thundered down the corridor. You humans, Drav gasped through his pain. his worldview shattering as thoroughly as his leg. "You're not prey. You're not predators. What are you?" Rhea knelt beside him, her expression neither cruel nor kind, simply matter-of-fact. "We're whatever we need to be. Right now I need to be their protector, and you threatened my charges." Zekthor burst through the doorway with a security team, weapons drawn. They stopped short at the scene before them. The most dominant predator species on the ship broken on the floor, and the human standing calmly above him. "Medical team to Auxiliary Bay," Zekthor said quietly into his comm. "We have an injured Korthian. Severe trauma." As they carried Drav away, he kept staring at Rhea with a mixture of terror and newfound respect. The story would spread through the ship within hours, then through the fleet, then through the coalition. Another tale of human paradox, the species that would cross a galaxy to rescue 3 orphaned predator cubs and would shatter bones to protect them. The kits chirped and tumbled toward Rhea, climbing up her legs with their tiny claws. She scooped them up gently, cradling them against her chest as they purred in contentment. "Feeding time," she said to Zekthor, as if nothing unusual had occurred. Commander Zekthor watched her walk away, the deadly protector and the helpless cubs, and updated his personal log. Note to self: never underestimate a human's capacity for violence in defense of those they consider family. Species classification remains paradoxical. Across the ship, the crew whispered a new maxim: you can threaten a human. You can threaten their ship. You might even threaten their species. But threaten something they've chosen to protect? Then pray to whatever gods you worship, because mercy is no longer on the table.